Hello and welcome to the all-new 2018 Porsche Cayenne. You all know what the Cayenne is. Actually, it was very successful. 270,000 cars sold in the first generation. Second generation did almost 550,000 cars. So this one they got high hopes for. It's basically the car that saved Porsche. Let's be honest. It's the car that got them back on the road. So 911 can survive and prosper today. So what are we looking at? Third gen car, all new, lighter on the new generation MQB is one of those fancy platforms that they borrowed from the likes of Audi. So it's the same one that underpins the new Q7 and of course the Bentayga from Bentley and now the Lamborghini Urus. So it's got quite a bit of fancy stuff in it. It's all much lighter. The body is mostly aluminium, suspension's lighter. They've saved a bunch of weight. But what does that mean in the real world? Well, it means that you've got a car that should in theory handle better, stop better, go quicker and use less fuel. So the biggest criticism you can really lay at the feet of Porsche is that they aren't very adventurous design-wise, and the new Cayenne is certainly no different. I mean, you really struggle to spot the difference from the front. It looks almost identical to the old car, and they go by that whole, if it ain't broke, why should we fix it? Well, I think so customers know that it's an all-new car, because we had the Gen 1 car, it's Gen 2 actually, I can't even work them apart, the Gen 2 car the whole day with us as a lead car, and I couldn't tell if it was different or not. This is a Cayenne S. So it's got the twin turbo 2.9 V6. We'll get to the engines a little bit. It's got the small wheels, the 20-inch wheels, but they also have optional 21s which look really good. Some of them are turbo look as well. Really from the front you can't tell, although most of the body is now made from aluminium for lightness. It's got air suspension, 3-chamber air suspension that can actually lift up 2 inches. I don't know if I can see it. No, you really can't. These are all road bias tires. So basically it's meant to have a better ride off-road and on. At even the top of the suspension. It's on maximum lift. Bridgestone tires. Weird choice because I thought Porsche is normally a Continental, Michelin. They have Michelin in other cars, so I'm not sure why this car gets Bridgestones. So the back is where you really tell the difference. This is where the new Cayenne makes its style statement, which is this full length, and I mean full length, glass fascia which contains the Porsche logo and the tail lights. It's a little bit like what Dodge did with the new Charger. It's very distinctive and very easy to look at. Other than that, there's really no other way to tell these cars apart. I mean, the whole car looks like it's lost a little bit of weight visually. It's a little sharper, etc. It's like a bit of a grown-up Macan. But to say that it looks dramatically different would be unkind. There's a new Porsche going by now. So, the other big innovation, active roof spoiler. Yep, this spoiler actually lifts up at speed below 160. It largely doesn't do anything. It can also act as an air brake. But it can raise by up to 60 millimeters to add additional downforce to the rear. So it's the world's first active rear spoiler. I don't know if it's getting you excited, but I'm certainly feeling something. Other than that, not much to report really. I think go for the lighter colors because the darker colors kind of emphasize the bulk. But it's not a bad looking car in the way that a Macan is not a bad looking car either. They all look a bit similar to each other. The interior is where you'll see the big gains, but externally, not a lot of change. Under the hood, we've got a whole bunch of engine changes. Before, we had a 3.6 V6, a supercharged 6, and of course the twin turbo S V8. So now we've got a V6 turbo, which is 600cc down displacement, makes 340 horsepower. This one, which is the Cayenne S, twin turbo V6, 440 horsepower, so 20 horsepower up. And of course the V8 twin turbo Cayenne turbo is still there, although they're all turbos. Yes, I know it's confusing. So the top one makes 550 horsepower. Why don't we have a Cayenne turbo? Well, the answer is simple. They haven't made any yet. They're all in the boat and they haven't reached Dubai. So the answer is when it gets here. So at the moment I'm this 440 horsepower, which is pretty fast. I mean, this will do 0 to 100 in about 4.9 seconds, half a second quicker than the old car. And it makes about 550 Newton meters of torque. To give you some perspective, even the base V6 turbo will still do 0 to 100 in about 6 seconds, which is making it really fast. A top speed of nearly 250 kilometers per hour. This one is a little bit faster, 265, and the big dog turbo does 286 kilometers per hour and does 0 to 100 in a frankly eye-peeling, brain-boggling, I can't even say the word, brain-bogglingly quick 3.9 seconds for an SUV. Very impressive. No PDK on these cars. They all have the 8-speed auto, which I believe is a ZF gearbox, so there could be a Porsche gearbox. But yeah, this is potentially all the engine you need, and this 2.9 V6 is an engine you'll see in many cars across the VAG group to come. Look at the boot, shall we? Keeping in mind this is not a full drive, just a first drive. So there's enough space in there, as you can see, for my backpack once I roll this shutter back. The usual Cayenne luggage space, all of course carpet lined, and storage nets here and here. I think this is a subwoofer actually. And of course these are the air suspension kneel buttons, so if you press this the car will kneel. Doesn't seem to be doing anything, but I imagine it's because the car is switched off. And here, down here is spare wheel. Hopefully never needed. Not a whole lot to see, but quite a good base. And of course this is a fairly large SUV. What have we got in the back? Well, we've got a luxuriously trimmed rear seat which accommodates 3, a massive panoramic sunroof. I can't argue with the quality, of course, being Porsche, everything, the leather is absolutely buttery smooth, better than Mercedes, really comfortable, and the seating position is absolutely flawless. The daylight open is actually a little bit shorter, but you never know because it looks pretty airy and spacious in here. Toys wise, well, there's no rear DVD headrests. There's only this center console which accommodates the climate controls, which are actually dark now because they only light up when the car is on. And of course my favorite thing, a pair of USBs and a cigarette lighter. And these little bins to keep stuff. Not a whole lot to do. If you notice, by the way, these logos, Burmeister sound system. I do like the Burmeister. It's what you get on all the best Mercedes. Right, that's the back. Let's go to the front. Interior of the Cayenne, let's take a quick look at it. Tie it up. Proper Cayenne noise. Of course, no V8s anymore, all V6s. You've got these twin screens flanking the center analog display. The one on the left is all your usual gubbins, is basically speed limiter, etc., things like that. Navigation, position, odometer. Not too much happening here. The right one is where all the magic happens. There you have all this, obviously, your information, etc., like time, lap speed, and so on, and a clock, a very nice clock actually. But if I go down, full navigation, sport chrono mode. Here we go, G-force meter, all-wheel drive, tells distribution front and rear, quite nice. Tire pressures, all quite very nerdy and Porsche. Loads and loads of screens. This is the main steering wheel. I really like it. I like the feel of it. It's got a good thick steering wheel. It's got everything falls to hand nicely. The shape is perfect. I mean, this is why you buy a Porsche, because the ergonomics are perfect. And that applies to the seats as well. The seats are really, really comfortable, and they all have heating and cooling, etc. This knob, of course, controls your normal, sport, sport plus, and individual settings. So if you change it, if you put to sport plus, you can actually hear the engine note changed very slightly. Very cool. In the center, we've got the most annoying thing about the car. There are 2 things that really annoy me. One is the center cubby, because it's beautifully trimmed in leather, but it never stays still. So you're moving around and it just goes forward. Never stays in one place. They need to get a stiffer lock on this, because right now it's not staying in its current detent. Not too much space in here. You've got space for your keys, 2 USB plugs once again. Some mints. And this is a cup holder which will have to double as a phone holder, because Porsche does not want to give you a proper phone holder, because they say if it does, it has to be calibrated, whatever that means. And you've got cigarette lighter here. Don't smoke, it's bad for you. I'll move on to the main screen because this is the new Porsche system. Let's see if you can see it. Navigation, let's go to all the screens very quickly. You might have seen it before, navigation, etc. Very geometric and Porsche, very fast. Media, of course. You have music stations and everything. How you get all your various sources, Bluetooth, etc., and so on. This also, of course, has CarPlay and Android Auto. Phone, again, the only thing I have with this phone interface is you don't really know. There's no color differentiation, so you don't quite know which one is which. So, like, all the phones look the same. I would rather much prefer a vertical list. What have we got down here? Car. This is where actually all the information on the car, drive modes. So this is actually interesting. Normal, sport, sport plus, chassis, and you can see how it changes the chassis settings each time. If I go to sport, it goes to medium. If I go to, there's an off-road mode, which changes everything again. So now you have Land Rover style settings. You have on-road, which is what we're on, gravel, which changes the air suspension height. You can't really see it, but the car is going up. Mud, and if I take this away, you actually see the difference. So if I go back to gravel, you can see it only locks partially the center diff, partially locks the rear diff. If you go to mud, it fully locks the center diff, leaves the rear diff open. If you go to sand, full center diff, still like that. It changes all traction control, steering settings, and engine response. And then rock, everything is locked up, everything. If you notice, it's also maximum terrain height. That's terrain mode. And by the way, there is no front diff. Independent front suspension, what are you going to do? Top view. This is quite cool. A really nice 360 camera system. One of my favorites in the class, actually. And there's parking. There's also panorama mode, which is very nice. You can see how it just squishes everything together. Side parking, so obviously when you're coming out of junctions. I just like the parking mode. It's quite nice. What else have we got? Control. These are all your options. Ambient lighting, Atlantis. It's not dark enough, I can't tell. Trip meter. How fancy. Everything just digitally animates. That's what happens when you have NVIDIA providing the systems. Chrono. Climate control. Again, pretty easy, straightforward. You just press all the buttons, but it's better to use the actual buttons. Comfort. The style strong. I'm going to actually change it to medium because I don't like really strong air conditioning. Footwell, medium again. And rear, all the same settings. It's very German, it's very intense. What is this button here? Or PCM Connect. You have some other apps that you can download through your phone and connect. So, down here, another bugbear. Porsche have reinvented the gear stick. I'm not quite sure why. So, the normally expect a park button to appear. It's actually down here. So, there's a trigger here. If you pull it, it goes into drive. And if you pull it forward, it goes into reverse. But you really have to know what you're doing. Otherwise, it's not intuitive. And again, if you want to go to manual, see, I got it wrong. There we go. You're a good hard shove. Okay, is it going into D? Is it going into... No, it's not going into manual. You see, it's not straightforward and easy to work out. Maybe I'm just thick. But I do like this center stack. It's beautiful piano black. Everything here is lights up. So if you turn the car off, it vanishes. You don't see anything. Obviously, there's your main one: source, media, home, car, climate, and there's the options. The hard buttons, basically, like touching the main screen. If I turn it on, everything comes up. Now, this looks beautiful. And of course, for example, here, if I want climate control, I just press it. And there's a little haptic notch. Can you hear it? So it does vibrate. You get some feedback. But the problem is, it's beautiful to look at. Okay, here you got, for example, suspension, normal, sport plus, etc. And traction control, which we are playing with all day. AC max and all that. So all the climate control stuff is here. The problem is, you don't actually know what it is till you've looked at it. So you'll be looking at the road, driving around. I want to change the AC. I got to look at it. And then you got to think for a second. And that's that when the eyes are off the road. So it's brilliant and beautiful. I'm not sure how usable it is. But overall, it's a very nice interior. Of course, you see it in the Panameras. And this screen is amazing. Absolutely amazing. Other than that, all the usual Cayenne hallmarks. You've got this big grab handle here when you're off-road. Not sure why you need that big a grab handle, but yeah. It's a very nice, very, very comfortable car. The seating position is, I don't want to use a bad word, but it is phenomenal. Let's use the word phenomenal. Right, let's get on the road or the gravel track and see how we get on. So we're in the Cayenne. I'm going to take you a quick drive around the off-road block. We've already driven it on-road. This, if you remember, is the V6S. It used to be V8s before, but they're all V6s now until you get to the turbo. So the 340 horsepower, this is 440 horsepower, and then the big dog turbo, 550 horsepower with the twin turbo V8. Honestly speaking, I mean, none of them are like, they're fast, but they're all fast at the top and the mid. So where most people drive, the low end isn't quite there because these are still V6 engines. The V6, the regular one, was fine. I actually thought it was fine. I mean, for most people, it's all the Cayenne they need. Maybe you buy a small S badge to stick on the back. The twin turbo S, which is what we're in right now, is quicker, but it's not dramatically different. It's a 2.9 V6. It is a lot noisier. Is it a great noise? It's noisier. I don't mind it so much. I don't know if it's really worth the premium. I think for most people, they want a comfortable car that's quite sporty. Sporty than a Range Rover for sure. So this gear shifter's annoying behavior aside, it's a nice car to drive. It's very comfortable. You sit low in the car, not on top of it. It feels car-like. Off-road, well, you know, it's not really an off-road car. This is on 20-inch wheels. So I wouldn't describe it as the last word in like Land Rover. But it does the job, you know. We went up to the Wadis, it was fine. I have it in off-road mode. I don't know what happened there for some bizarre reason. Did it go into drive? So what have I got it in mode-wise? Off-road. It's on full, it's an on-road. Maybe I should put it to rocks. See how it does. Okay, that's not very fair, is it? Putting it to classic terrain mode, and everything is locked up. It's doing much better. What it needs is like an auto mode, which tells the car what to do. I don't know how bumpy the camera is, but it's quite smooth and safe in here. It'll do all your beach basic shenanigans. So 5 adults, plenty of room for their luggage, and a very nice leather-lined cabin. I mean, Is this a rival to the Range Rover? I don't really think so. Range Rover Sport, absolutely. Absolutely. And it's a lot more user-friendly than the Range Rover Sport. Now, is it... oh, that's a big drop-off. But we can maybe go down into the valley a little bit and give it a small sample. Oh, I'm going to a T-junction. Yeah. Never really rated the Cayennes as off-road cars, but they're okay. They're all right. Would I buy one? Yeah, sure. If I was in the market for one of these Porsche Leatherline Cruisers, I still think the ultimate Porsche is an 911, but this is quite nice. It gets the job done. I mean, in off-road mode, it's got everything automatic, so automatic hill descent control. It's not really an off-road car. I can really faff about here all day, but let's not, because I want to go home. And this is not a full drive, this is a short drive. That, amazing. Amazing how good this... I can never get over 360 systems. They're so good. Take all the guesswork out of maneuvering, because I can't really see that much behind me. These windows are small. So I'm just going to end this with a quick, let's go back up this slope that we came. Sadly, in Ras Al Khaimah, there aren't a lot of great roads unless you go to Oman. So I'm not going back to Oman. But in Oman, there were a couple of nice roads. No, okay, let's go up. Let's go up gently, gently in rock mode. Go away. The trouble with all these computers is that you're doing all of this. Now again, with these cars, these new cars, you don't use a lot of power. I can stop on the gradient like this and let the car just find the traction, just find its way up the hill. You just don't have to think like you used to. You don't have to lock up diffs or anything. It does everything automatically. Maybe it makes you a bit lazy, makes you a bit fat, but it certainly makes you look like a rock star when you go off-road. I'm being flagged down. Hold on. I got a nice shouting by the Porsche people. I don't think I'm in their good books today. I don't think anybody gets in their good books. They're Porsche. They're very upset. Anyway, nice car. Very nice, very solid, very well behaved actually. Is it a rival to the Range Rover? What the hell? Oh yeah, it does automatically when it detects low objects. It actually, what's the word for it? It basically turns the cameras on, which is nice. I think most people will like it. I think it's a nice update to the old Cayenne, which is starting to feel a bit old. This one, on the other hand, it feels like a real movement on. Better than the Q7, definitely. For more, let's wait till we get to the actual road test, which will be hopefully coming soon when we get the cars very shortly. I'm Imtishan. You've been watching Motoring Middle East. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.